What is up, Tube users, and welcome back to another episode of Z to A. Today, we are diving into the depths of nostalgia way back into the early 90s with Wolfenstein 3D. Now, this is the only Wolfenstein game that I own or have on Steam. I think I've played some of them. They were on like Xbox Game Pass at some point, but this one just really hits nostalgia for me. I mean, I didn't play it when it first came out. I was a little bit too young to be playing this sort of game when it first came out, but man, just the graphics and the way that everything works in this game just really harkens back to those 90s games. And I mean, it surprisingly plays really well. I did have some trouble with trying to record and stuff like that, but I mean, I was able to figure it out and stuff, and the game just actually runs really smooth. Now, controls wise, it's a little janky. I'll get into that in a bit, but I mean, overall, it is a fun experience to just go and play. I mean, this is the game that's pretty much credited to starting the first-person shooter genre, right? And I mean, FPS games are like some of the most popular games in just gaming in general. I think probably FPS is the most popular genre, and I mean, a lot can be accredited to this. I mean, there are games that have far surpassed this game, but just to go back and to the start of it all is really fun and interesting. And you know, even though it's definitely got its jank to it, it's definitely got its 90s feel, there is still like an actual challenge to this game. I think I'm playing on like the normal difficulty here, but I did try playing on some like the extreme hard. I forget, they had some funny names for the different difficulties, but it actually is pretty challenging trying to get through those difficulties. And I think some of that is attributed to the controls, but still it's still just a challenging game in general playing at the higher difficulties. And so I want to talk about the controls for this game because it's really what kind of just piqued my interest and just was like, this is an interesting way for a game like this to play. I mean, typically you think of when playing an FPS game, you have your WASD to move around, and then you use your mouse to shoot and look around, right? I mean, that's just kind of how most FPS games work, but this one was different. So you can use, it's either a mouse, it's either mouse or keyboard. It's not both. I mean, you do use some actions for your keyboard, but it's not the way you think. So I did try both ways, and I preferred just using the mouse because it just felt smoother. But basically, so yeah, if you're using the keyboard, you use your W key and S key to move back and forwards, and then your A and D are to turn. So you don't really get, I mean, a really good turning radius, which is just kind of weird and janky, and I didn't really like it. So I went with the mouse, which was super interesting to say the least. And basically you're just moving your mouse forward to move forward, moving your mouse backwards to move backwards, and then left and right will make you look left and right. So it was interesting, and it was kind of janky to get into at the start, but you know, I got a hang of it, and it actually doesn't feel that bad. I mean, it would be interesting to see like a Call of Duty try this style. Obviously, I don't think it would work with how games are played nowadays, especially since there is no vertical movement, right? Like you can't look up and down in this game. The movement forwards and backwards actually works with this game, but yeah, it was super interesting, and I actually did like the feel of it once I got the hang of it. And I mean, this I never played this game as a kid, like I said, but it brings back that nostalgia of like those like the stand-up arcade machines that you would play at arcades and stuff. It just kind of has that feel, and I actually think this game would be a lot of fun playing on one of those cabinets, just with a joystick and like a fire and an interact button, because that's really all there is. You have your movement and looking around and stuff, and then you have a use button, I guess, which was spacebar, to open doors and stuff, and then you have a fire button, obviously. And I guess there is like a switch weapon. I mean, I never used it because I got this minigun from the secret room, which just absolutely tore through enemies. So, and then I think I find another secret here. Yeah, and it's just like some of these things I remembered from the first. I did play through this once when I got it, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago, just because I wanted to see how this game played and stuff. But yeah, it's really fun, and it does have that great nostalgic feel to it. Especially like this game compared to Nightmare Reaper, which I reviewed not too long ago. This game definitely has that same feel. I mean, Nightmare Reaper is far superior just because it's a game that harkens back to a game like this, like Wolfenstein, but is brought into the new era of gaming. So it works better for today's standards, but this game still, by today's standards, I think is really fun to play. And I think the reason that is I look at a lot of the 90s games that I've played through, and some of them are either just super ridiculously difficult because they just overtuned the computers in the game, or they're just way too easy because they undertuned the computers in the game. And it's hard to find that balance, and I think it was just one of the technical flaws for games of that era, that they just didn't have the, like, I don't know, processing power, as it were, to make things like difficult but not super challenging. You know, I think a lot of games today are able to fit into that mold, but this game actually, I mean, it has 4 layers of difficulty, and I mean, playing on the easier difficulty like I am here, it's still fun. It still has a somewhat of a challenge to it, but playing on the hard difficulty, like, it did feel like a challenge, and it wasn't like overly challenging. Like, I feel like if I took my time, I could probably get through it, and maybe I will at some point, because this was actually really fun to play. But there is just some things that can be kind of difficult just playing an old school game like this, but it was really fun to see how actually balanced the difficulty in this game was, which was surprising to me. One of the things that was kind of interesting and a little bit frustrating is the secrets. I just kind of went based off of what I remembered, and I only found those 2 secrets in the first one. I want to say there is a way to find those secrets. I think you have to, like, there's something in the, like, wall pattern that's different for a secret room and stuff, but I wasn't able to find any other than the 2 that I already knew of, so that was a little bit frustrating. I mean, it wasn't really anything that bad, but that, and then the sound design was a little off. Like, it may have just been me personally, but I would sometimes just hear only in my left ear or only in my right ear for a little bit, and it would just kind of disorientate me. I don't I don't think that was designed that way, so it may have just been a flaw on my headphones or something, but it was a little bit frustrating and disorienting to hear that. But I mean, just speaking on the sound design, I mean, this game came out in the early 90s, so this is kind of just like the 8-bit old school kind of graphics and sound design. I actually really love the sound. The sound of the guns actually feels really well done. I love the sound of the guards. I love the little like MIDI sounds of picking up goblets and ammo and stuff. It does sound really good. And I think my favorite part is killing the SMG guys. The sounds that they make are just super funny, and I think it's just a really well designed from a sound aspect, other than having that technical issue, which I'm gonna attribute to something on my end. It really does have a good sound. The soundtrack is, it's no Doom, let's just say, but it still is not bad. And I think another thing too is I did like the level design overall, although this level in particular I did have a tough time just trying to find the key to just find there. I mean, I cut a lot of it out, but it did take me quite a long time just to go back and try and find it, just being in the corner of a room, and then just trying to find the door to use the key on was a little bit frustrating, but it goes to show that you do need to kind of explore the entirety of these maps. And I do think that they are really well designed, and I do like the secrets and all to them. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, and hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.